What is up, guys? It's Verns back here again with another Supercoach video. This time it is the round 13 review. And look, I gotta add a volume warning here because I'm about to lose my bloody mind. Woo! Let's go! That's right, you see it there. We have taken home first for the weekly. Round 13, first place. Oh my goodness, it's absolutely massive. I'm so pumped right now. What a way to start the new year. First of the first, 2024, and we have picked up the weekly win for NBL Supercoach. Like, oh my goodness. I can't even describe it. I'm so full of energy. I'm so pumped up. I'm so ready for this year. Like, what a great start. Like, woohoo! Let's go! Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry to everyone that I just blew their eardrums out. I really hope that when I said volume warning, you paused and you turned it down. Oh my goodness, guys. What a score. 482 points. Number one for the week and up 186 places for a season rank of 109. Now, I know we talked about getting back into that top 100 and finishing top 100 for the season, but now it is really within our fingertips. Looks like we just need to reach out and grasp it. I'm so pumped about this. Oh, guys, I got to be honest. Like, as you guys probably, if you're not already following me on X, you can follow me at Verns_SC, and I put the post out straight away when the game ticked over. Like, it's one of those things that you would see on the post that I do have my little Uber app in the corner and my little Facebook app, and I usually get rid of those from my pictures when I upload them, but I was just too stoked. I was out doing some Uber Eats, and when I'm doing my Uber Eats, that's honestly a lot of the time that I watch these games. You know, you wait 10 minutes for your food, and I'm watching like the game there, go 10 minutes for another order, watch the game there. I was probably on like a 15-minute wait at the time, sitting there, finished off the Cairns New Zealand game, and I was like, oh damn, like I wonder if it's updated. Like, I'm so hyped. Let's go look at the stats. See, Lamb drops 36 points. I'm like, that's beautiful. 4-hour bench. Jump into the app. I see it hasn't updated yet. I can see the score. I'm like, okay, that's pretty hype. Let's go look at everyone, their ownership numbers. What are they at? And I was going over those, closed the app, went on to Twitter a bit. We're talking to, the chat. I'm like, look, honestly, like, we have our Podmaster chat with all the content creators there. I'm like, honestly, like, I think I could get this. Even last night, I was, not to jump the gun, but I was sort of sitting there like, guys, like, I think I could generally take this. And then, just jump back to the Supercoach app. It's updated. Boom. Number one right there. And I am ecstatic. I am so giddy. Like, I'm just sitting in that seat, smiling too much, just losing my mind. The other Uber drivers are sitting around, clearly looking at me like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? Like, like, did he just win something? Like, he's just losing his shit for no reason. Like, I was pumped. 2 minutes later, they come out with my order. I grab the order. I've done my X post and all that. I've done all that. Go to pick up the next order. I'm just so stoked. And clearly I was giving off those vibes because, I was picking up a double order. So I went to the next place to pick up. And the guy could just see. And he's like, oh, I had a good New Year, mate. I'm like, mate, I have had a great New Year. Tell me about it. Like, I just won NBL Supercoach's weekly. And he's just sitting there, clearly no clue. And he's like, oh yeah, like, what's that, bro? And I'm just like, oh, just fantasy sports, man. Like, I just had to tell everyone. I was so stoked. I was losing my mind, and oh, I can't believe we got this W. Like, I am so pumped. Woo! Let's go, guys. Let's go. I'm going to have to listen back to this and make sure I didn't blow up your eardrums in a minute. Look, huge shout out to David as well, who got back to rank 1. That's obviously a do it for Jack. We did our podcast on Supercoach Hub a little while back. Look, just for those that don't know, I do jump on the Supercoach Hub podcast from time to time to guest, just come on as a guest and help out whenever they need it here and there. And look, honestly, I'll probably be jumping on that later this week as well. Barnsey isn't going to be able to get on, so keep your eye out for that. I'm just got so much energy right now. I'm such a high. Honestly, I need a huge shout out to Barnsey as well. If you did listen to the Supercoach Hub podcast this week, I had DJ 3J in my team at the end of this video. And me and Barnsey, when we were talking through it, he just pointed out, like, honestly, DJ 3J you're paying a lot of coin for a man that, what if he just doesn't fire? Like, what if he just doesn't do it? Like, he is somebody that notoriously can just show up and do nothing in that game. Why not just pay an extra 100k less for Kel and then you can use that extra 100k elsewhere. And I was like, Barnesy, you speaking some good logic, my dude. Like, that sounds good to me. I'm like, I need to go change my team. So I went in, I changed my team. I brought in Kel instead, and just, oh my goodness, what a move that was. Unfortunately, we did lose Barnesy in this, who decided to move from Kel to DJ3J after convincing me to move the other way. And, such is what happens. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to quickly listen back to this. Make sure I didn't blow up any eardrums. I hopefully moved my mic far enough away that it's not too crazy loud. But yeah, we're going to listen back to this and make sure this is fine to upload, and then I'll jump into the team after that. So yeah, I'll catch you in just a second, guys. And we are back, guys. Oh my goodness. Look, I listened back to it. I don't think I was blowing up too many eardrums. I definitely was, but you know what? It's got a volume warning. I'm going to put it there in the title. I'm sorry in advance if you lost an ear. But look, I've moved my camera up to the top corner just because usually when it's down in the bottom corner, I do cover some of the stuff that I'm looking at. So hopefully top corner, not going to cover as much. But yeah, let's jump into this team. Let's look at this team. Something I actually did want to talk about that's really funny. So obviously massive shout out to Swizz, who won the weekly last week. So really funny, 2 content creators back-to-back weeks. We've won the NBL Supercoach. I mean, why are we even doing AFL? We should just be shifting over to NBL. Clearly, it's where we belong. But me and Swizz, we actually had almost identical teams. The one difference is I had Jalen Galloway and he had Cotton. And that's just what shows the big difference of making cash earlier in the season. Because even if I wanted Cotton, I could never afford Cotton. Don't get me wrong, I was never going to go down the Cotton route. Best case scenario, we talked about getting Hogan. Obviously, that would have been a much better play over these last 2 rounds. But it's just the difference that obviously you can see someone that's made a bit more cash at the end of the day. Someone that could have Cotton last week, and I couldn't have Cotton. And that's the big difference there. Like, exactly the same team, but he has Cotton because he has made better cash generation throughout the season. And that was the difference between my team and his team last week when he won the weekly. This week, though, I mean, I'm lucky Swizz didn't make the same moves I did, because I would have fallen behind the 8 ball if that's the case. But we just, look, with our trades, if you remember back to last week, the reason we couldn't go Wiley, it wasn't even that we didn't want Wiley. Wiley was my second favorite behind Humphrey. Humphrey was my numero uno. I loved Humphrey, and that was the big reason why you couldn't hold on to Williams. Because in my eyes, Menenga was too much of a cash cow. He was making too much money. We just had to keep Menenga. And obviously we couldn't keep Williams with Humphrey. They're both centers only. We can only have one center. And what's the point of having, no offense, Williams on the bench to a degree? That just seems like a bit of a waste of 400k. So we went down to Humphrey. Massive dividends there. Humphrey just so good. And look, Humphrey over the last 5 games has been incredible. He's probably on like a 34-point average over the last 5 games. Me and Barnesy looked over on the Supercoach hub, and last week he was a 32.3 average over the last 3 weeks. So since the new coach came in, since the times had changed, and the time on court had changed, and just the structure had changed. So we looked at that, 32.3 average. He was priced significantly less than that. And as I said, I really liked what Humphrey was doing. Obviously, this week he's probably bumped up to a 34 average, so he's clearly the numero uno Adelaide player. But look, Wiley didn't work for me, because the way I looked at this is if I was to bring in Wiley, now I already have Humphrey in the team, so I already have a center that's sitting there. If I bring in Wiley, and then I bring in Hogue next week, I'm then locking myself out of any center forwards going forward. And I wanted Sam Froling. I think it's Sam Froling. His name is, it's definitely, okay, it's Froling. I'm going to say his first name's Sam. I'm going to put my money on that one. So I didn't want to lock myself out of getting Froley. I prioritized Froley over Wiley. I'm like, next week I'll get Hogue. Week after that I'll get Froley. And then I'll have Hogue, Froling, and Humphrey in these core positions on court with the Lamb flexibility as well. And that's the main reason I didn't go Wiley. It wasn't even for this week. Like this week, I would have put money on Wiley to outscore Kel. I purely did it for my future plans and a better structure going forward into the future. So it was just a little bit of a luck of the draw that because of that, it forced me into a DJ or a Kel situation. And then, as I mentioned, Barnesy convinced me on Kel. Kel, 11 points in the first game. And look, I don't have it up in front of me, but look, I was talking to Corey, ladies man, Blackledge, on X at the time, and I was like, look, let's not get down. He's got a second game. If he can put together 29 points in this second game, get to like a 40, I'll pass that for the cash that we paid for him. Like, that's fine. 40 points, I can accept that. He was pretty cheap. We'll get over it. He does me better than that. He adds 40 points to that 29, 69 points, a triple-double, I think the first triple-double of this season, and just a massive score, gets to 80, and somehow we end up in this position where I'm just going to click on the players for a second just to show you how nuts it was. We owned the top 6 players of the round, and that's why I was pretty confident that I was going to get the W, because, like, this is perfect. This is literally perfect, and obviously Menenga's 5th, and it's like, oh, well, obviously you'd like Menenga on field. Technically impossible with Humphrey and Menenga both being center-onlys. So this was literally the perfect on-field team that anyone could have had, and then on top of it, Menenga on the bench. Like, it was... I was feeling like if I didn't win this, I was almost going to be like... I was going to be pretty upset if I didn't, honestly. Like, I was like, I'm so set to win this. Yeah, McCall gets 66. As I mentioned, pretty safe captain option there. Qual 55. He's been so good for us. He's been so good for Cans. Him being such a threat from the 3, amazing. Obviously, his scoring inside as well because of that threat from the 3, really good too. McCall, fun fact, end of the game, he throws 2 turnovers away and loses... 4 points there. He also had a turnover. This was a really unfortunate turnover where I'm pretty sure it might have been Miller, but he threw it to McCall in the back court without thinking, and they got a back court violation that counted as McCall's turnover. So, you take out that last minute where he threw away the ball twice, plus that random cross court that Miller was really Miller's turnover. I mean, he could have been pushing a 72, but you know what? No complaints here. Everything went absolutely perfect. Yeah, Miller, 70 points too, just so good. Worked out so well. Lamb, 36. He always seems to tear up Tasmania. Like, they just don't have someone that can match him properly. He takes them in size. New Zealand get 4 wins in a row. And they've beaten Taz twice now. And yeah, he kept taking... Like, whoever he got the mismatch on, he would take them inside and score at the rack. Really good. Just sensational from him. Galloway's 14. Galloway's a little bit frustrating here. Look, he only played 16 minutes, and he put out 14 points. That's not too bad in reality. Points for a minute, that's fine. But he's definitely underperforming for what I thought we were going to be getting from Galloway, and definitely the incorrect play going Galloway over Hogue 2 weeks ago. Obviously, that's only with hindsight, though. I think at the time it made sense. Menenga, what a beast Menenga has been. He was knocking down threes like crazy in that second game. Threat inside, getting rebounds, getting assists. And my favorite part is, I'm pretty sure it was McCall that kept feeding him the ball at the 3, and he'd splash a 3, and I'd be like, 3 points plus McCall's assist, double for captaincy, 7 points every time they do it. Let's go. Air comes out with a perfectly reasonable 16. This is fine at his price. And then Armstrong, 24. So just absolutely awesome from the team. Yeah, just so good. Someone I was actually eyeing off for this week, and I was super keen to make the move for, was Lee. Marcus Lee, I thought, because there was news that potentially Magne was down for the season. I was like, if Magne's out for the season, Lee all of a sudden is going to get this massive court time, and I was always eyeing him off to potentially bring him in right now for Menenga, bank some cash. He came out with 29 points, so he's no longer sliding under the radar for most people, but saying that, I did see news that Magne failed a fitness test to not play the game. So it sounds like he should be playing next week if he was, if there was a fitness test deciding if he was going to get up or not. So it doesn't sound like it's season ending. So Lee's not going to be as valuable as what we saw from this week. So don't get baited into Lee. I think, unfortunately, once Magne's back, it's going to definitely ruin him as a pick again. Look, obviously great for Magne, great that he didn't go down, and great for Australian basketball. Just would have been really good for our Supercoach teams if, Lee could get in at that really nice cheap price and start playing, starter center minutes. But yeah, teams looking super good. Cans have now finished their run, and I think this is when the season's really going to open up. A lot of this season, we've had these Cans players that have formed the baseline for our team, and everyone's had them. Everyone's had 5 or 6 of them, and because of that, there's not too much diversity outside of that. There's only maybe 4, 5 players, sometimes 3 players the difference, maybe less between people's teams. And because of that, I think they're just, there wasn't too much diversity. Coming into this, Cairns no longer have that run. I think we're about to see teams really make a big change up for these last few weeks. 6 weeks left in the season, and I think there could be a lot of changes in the rankings because people could go in very different ways, and you could have very big score fluctuations because of it. But let's jump into my planned trades. Now, if you're lucky enough, you've probably got a boost sitting here, ready for this moment. In my case, I'm super pumped for it. Only thing is, with Menenga putting out such a good score, -4 break even, I actually think Menenga might be reasonable just to keep on our bench for the rest of the season. I looked at the center cheapies. There is not many center cheapies that is really worth holding on your bench. And I thought, Menenga's doing really good at putting out 20 points a game. We could probably just sit him on the bench, let him keep getting 20 points a game, and that's going to be perfectly possible for the rest of the season. We could look at maybe bringing in a center that has a few more doubles, because Menenga honestly has only one more double for the rest of the season. Obviously, Froling is a different beast, because I plan on running him in the forward. And so I'm trying to find someone else to go in that center position. Maybe something I'll find down the line. I considered maybe Hunter. He has 3 doubles coming up. Same with Bolden, 3 doubles coming up. So even if they don't average as much as Menenga, 2 extra games means that they could put down extra points. But with that break even, we're probably not touching him this week. He's going to sit there an extra week. We can focus on some other Cairns players to move on out here. I think numero uno Cairns player to move out for most people should be Taron Armstrong. He's got this 19 break even. He's honestly kind of topped out in price. Like, if he's getting more than 19, he's probably not getting much more than 22. And there's a good chance he can come out with 15. Like, he's really at the pinnacle price he's going to be. The good news is with this 260k that we got sitting in the bank, I can simply click trade, hit Jalen Adams, and boom, we're done. Adams is in this team. I don't even need to worry about the rest of the trades. I still got 70k sitting there to play with. So we can throw Adams on field. Kell no longer has a double. Miller no longer has a double. It's just Sydney and Melbourne players who have the double this week. So that does make things hard. And it's like, who's going to probably score more in a single? I'm going to put my money on probably Miller to do that. Assuming I hold on to Miller. I still want to size up this other trade. I'll be honest, I haven't quite gone through it. The answer is we're going to get Hogue. The question is, who are we going to get Hogue for? I planned on moving on Qual, but with that 12 break even and with how he's been playing, I don't know if moving on Qual's the best play. It might be worth keeping him, but saying that, we don't need to play too much for break even. 6 weeks left, we've got plenty of money in our team. We don't really have to keep pushing this money at this stage. So Qual could be an option, or McCall. I know what you're thinking. You're looking at 71k and you're going, Vern, you don't have enough money for Qual to be moved on. What are you talking about? Well, what I am thinking is if we hit this little boost button over here, I remember what I was going to do. Hit this boost button over here. We activate it. McCall has quite a high break even. As much as I think he's been sensational, I think it's the ideal time to move on McCall. Now that we've hit the boost button, I'm going to keep Magne, and I'm probably going to keep Miller at the end of the day. Kind of playing the break-even game a little bit, but I'm going to move McCall or Miller next week at the end of the day. And moving them next week, it's going to be better if I can maybe keep my cash on Miller for an easier trade. But all of a sudden, 730k to play with. That is a lot of dosh. And where's my boy Hogue? We're going to bring him in. He's only 350k. It still leaves us 370k. What I want to do is prep for Illawarra next week. Gary Clark, nice low break even. He's got Illawarra, he's got the great Illawarra run coming up, and I think he's probably the most ideal Illawarra player to have. Him and Sam Froling are both really good picks, but with Sam Froling's 20, I'm pretty sure his break even's going to be absolutely cooked. I'm just going to quickly filter for these Illawarra players. Let's look at Froling. It should be cooked. Break even 27, but with this 20 in his cycle, it's probably going to cook it. Look, I mean, they have similar break-evens. I honestly have more faith in Froling to be more consistent than Clark. Who are they playing this week? That's a good question. They are playing Sem. I think I'll play Froling, actually. I think I'll roll the dice with Froling over Clark. I mean, they're only 1k difference. It's really who do you think is going to score better this week? And I'm pretty happy with Froling as a reliable center. So let's bring him on in, see how the team's looking then. So this is looking, not great for this week, but it sets us up very nice going forward. The other thing is we could be subbing Galloway on field here. Froling versus Humphrey. I don't proactively have to make this move for Froling right now. I could wait a week and use the boost next week for it. Keep Bull Quoll for a better break even. Maybe I lose some points on that play though. Yeah, it's a good question there. I've really got to toss that up. That's my big question mark here. Do we move on Froling or do I keep the boost for next week? Next week we'll have Adelaide hitting. Not going to trade in any Adelaide players. Not really going to trade in many more. We go Clark next week. I don't really want Adelaide players, too many of them after this. I should have had the schedule up to check over it. Look, this is why the Supercoach Hub podcast is going to help a lot, just to be able to talk through it with some of the boys and see maybe what the best play is here. Maybe I bite my tongue with the boost for one more round. But next week, I think, at the end of the day, Menenga, as I said, we either hold him for the season. We'll see how that goes. He's potentially a hold. I think Miller goes, at the end of the day. Excuse me. But then I do run into a bit of trouble that if Miller goes, what guard am I bringing in? Maybe I do just bring in a Robertson or a Harvey purely just for the double game runs. It's really good double game run. I'll have to size that up and see what I do next week in that decision. But look, this is what we're looking at. Having the boost is very nice right now. I think getting Galloway on right now is really nice too. Look, we obviously can't. We're not going to go for Melbourne players because we're playing for the long haul. At the end of the day, I want to be trading Miller next week. And out of these players, potentially Ben Air goes from the team as well. We'll need to see how that goes. What I am going to do really quickly, though, is I am just going to check out the break-even game. See if there's any cheapies that maybe caught my eye this week. Albridge did have a good game. I'm not going to go back to the well, though. Oh, my goodness. Sean McDonald had an insane game. Knocking down threes like crazy. Not the greatest run right now, though, so not really someone I want to get on. Blanchfield, nah. Yeah, there's nobody that's really standing out at this point that it's like I should get on them. Their role's really good right now. Maybe Sawaka Labula could be an option. It's got a nice low break even at the moment, but look, Illawarra players. Look, this is what happened with the Adelaide players. We brought in, for the people that brought in these Adelaide players that have been a bit speculative throughout the year, even though they're in better form now, they absolutely bit them in the butt this week. And look, getting in these speculative Illawarra players just because they've got a good fixture, I don't know if that's the answer. Like, it might be better with all this extra money we have. We have so much money at this stage of the year to just focus on maybe more premium guys from better teams with reliable scoring rather than, honestly, guys like Labula that can come out and put out a single-digit score in a game. Like, that honestly could, and it could be pretty dangerous. But yeah, look, that's how the team's going to end. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I appreciate you all for being here, staying till the end, liking, subscribing, and just honestly being here on this journey for me. So I'm super pumped. Best of luck for your 2024 Supercoach journey. And I'm just still so pumped, guys. It's going to be an exciting year. I'm saying it's an exciting year just because I'm pumped right now. For all we know, I come out and absolutely choke for the rest of the season. But look, hopefully not. Hopefully there's more good things to come. But yeah, till next time, guys. Peace. Later.